Yes, now this is a really interesting part of this festival, and from what we can gather, all the Canadian Fringe Festivals. So entrance into the festival is by lottery, and then what happens is that you get a venue, so you get one singular venue, but you don't get one singular time slot. You actually get a random spread across all of the time slots.
2 p.m. and then 10 p.m. and then 4:30 and then 8 p.m.
Yeah, which really means it's difficult to market. However, it means it's actually really good because you can see everything that you want to see because nothing clashes.
Yeah. If you were in Edinburgh particularly is where I've experienced this, where there are shows on all day, but if you have 2 shows you want to see at 2 p.m. and you only had a few days to do it, it'd be tricky. We had 2 days, we saw 9 shows, and I think we had a short list of 12.
Yeah.
A couple of those were cancelled. We saw everything that we wanted to see.
Yeah. What it means is you really do have to sit down with the guide, and you have to, like, we did.
There's some scheduling.
We got quite nerdy about things.
Tables, writing down, okay, this one goes for 60 minutes, but it's 2 kilometres away from where this one is, and this one, hang on, if we get the 5-day pass,
So maybe it means that you need to pay a little bit more attention, but I think in the end it's actually really, really awesome.
Yeah. The venues here are interesting. And the most interesting thing about it makes me sound like a very frivolous person, but at most of the venues we went to, you can't buy a beer.
Wait for it though, it's not...
That's not it.
It's not just because May wants a beer.
It's not. I can get beer anywhere, but it's not. You can't go into the venue. There's not a space for you to go in, buy a beer, and wait for the show to start. Yeah. And equally, there's not a space for you to sit after the show, have a beer, and talk to people, or a wine, or whatever you want. Yeah. But there's not that capacity.
There's no space to congregate. And also, added to that, if you're seeing 3 shows back to back at the same venue, you often get kicked out of the venue, back onto the street. So there's not even a foyer. There's no hallway for you to stand in. You are out on the street waiting for the next show to start. And maybe that gap is an hour long.
And what I find interesting about that is a couple of things. First of all, this Fringe has an incredibly community feeling to it.
Yeah, which has been really great.
Fantastic. Yeah. I really felt involved. I felt, again, because we're seeing the same people all the time and that sort of stuff, and we went to this sort of 1 a.m. party thing. It's a really nice environment that is somehow being created without the opportunity to sit around and have a beer with random people. As an Australian, I find this odd.
It's very hard to believe.
So that's interesting. It's a different model, which is great.
Yeah.
It also leads a little bit into the next point, which is very few staff.
Yes.
There's no bar staff, obviously, because there's no bars.
Yeah. There's basically, at each venue we went to, there was like 1, maybe 2 box office people kind of keeping each other company. Then there'd be the tech, but there was no one else on site. And what this meant was that there were no like ushers or anyone kind of managing the audience. On the whole, this wasn't a problem, but we went to one show where I think there must have been a toilet behind stage, like so in the wings of the theatre, and the show was literally starting already and people were running to the toilet behind stage, and I could hear the performers going, hello, yes, it's just over there. Like, it was really odd. And from from our perspective, like as a performer, I'll be like, get the hell out of my wings. 2 things, obviously, like the theatre going culture here is that's okay, and also there wasn't an usher there saying, sorry, would you mind going to the other toilet that's outside?
Yeah, obviously.